All right, how are we doing today? First, I'll give you guys an injury report. I know you like that. Marco, unfortunately, tore his ACL, so he'll be out for the year. But just, obviously, one, to start, it's you feel terrible for Marco, a guy that's worked really hard. A star player in our secondary. If you look at you asked me coming into the season, hey, who are your best players? What's the strength of the defense? I would have said our two corners. And to lose one of the absolute best players on your roster is obviously a big loss for us. Combine that with our lack of depth in the secondary is going to make it a little bit challenging for us moving forward. I think coming into the season, we're down as we balance the roster. I think we're, and just in how the roster was set up when we got here, I think we're down 4 to 5 DBs. You could go either way with a guy or two. Down coming into the season, and really down 4, I think, if you look at the scholarship numbers, and then you lose 2 for the season, and 2 have yet to play in games. So, coming in this week's game, you're down 8 defensive backs. And last week's, after starting with game 2, you're down 8 DBs, which makes it a challenge for every guys. The other guys are going to have to step up. We're gonna give a couple guys some opportunities. We'll just see. I don't want to get into too much of that right now because I don't want to make a big deal out of something we might or might not do. But we're going to see who can maybe play some DB for us too to help out if we have to move some guys from the offensive side of the ball, move some people around. Other injuries, there's really nothing else that would affect this week's status. We're hoping. That David Reese and C.J. McWilliams have the opportunity to come back this week again. So we're hoping. Again with our trainers, they were on the edge. We were hoping C.J. be able to play on Saturday, wasn't. So hopefully he gets back this week. And David is making progress. So anticipation is that both those guys are able to suit up, which will help out Sean Davis, who we expect to still be out again this week. Did I miss anybody for you guys? Injuries? I know you guys. Just to get you all that stuff. Colorado State going to be an interesting challenge for us. It's when you watch a team, interesting in how they play. Obviously, they have some very good skilled players offensively that can put up big numbers, quarterback and a receiver, transfer guys that I are pretty highly rated recruits, 4 or 5 star type recruits. So they got a bunch of play. They got some guys that can make plays on their team. And then you watch them during the course of the season and you look at, down, what was it, 27-9 late in the game against Arkansas, come back to win. It was 37-7. It got up to against Hawaii, and it's a 1-score game as the game ends in the closing minutes. So they're a team that no matter whatever the situation is, they're not out of it. They're right in the middle of it, no matter what the situation is. So it's going to be a challenge for our guys that against this team. You got to be ready to play 4 quarters. However the scenario plays out, it's a 4-quarter game against this team, and get ready to go. I think for our guys, I'm interested to see how we attack practice today. I think that'll be a challenge for the guys on the team, how they attack the practice today, and the mindset in which we bring. And talk about we got to become more physical of a football team. Well, the only place that's going to happen is on the practice field, in your demeanor and your attitude to how you practice. I think, I thought we practiced much better week 2 than we did week 1. As I told our guys, even during practice, we have to practice better in week 3 than we did in week 2 and continue to learn how to improve and how to be a better practice team, how to learn that physicality, that mental and physical toughness that will carry over and help carry over to Saturday. And I want to make sure and see that we continue to take those steps. I've seen very little resistance from our team since I've been here in what we ask them to do and their buy-in and try to do things. And I also explained to them this morning, you don't go from here to here in one step. You don't go from not knowing how to practice or practices being kind of more of a walk-through type of deal into being the intensity I expect practice to be. And just by saying, we're going to practice intense now, guys. It's a learning process. They took a step last week, and we need to take another step this week, and hopefully another step the following week and the following week until we get to the practice standard level I'm at. And want to see now that we got punched in the face with a little bit of adversity, how we handle that aspect. Are we still taking the steps forward necessary to be successful?
Yeah, Dan, with Marco out, I mean, part of the blitzing part of the defense is that you have two lockdown corners. Does that take away from some of the things Todd can do there?
No, I mean, what we're going to do is next guy's got to step up and go play, and you got Brian Edwards, you got Trey Dean, or the guys are going to have to step up and do that right now moving forward for us. So, I don't want to do that with Todd, and we're not going to handcuff that until one of those guys prove they can't do it. But we're gonna go next guy up, and you got to go perform at our level that we expect you to perform.
And you talked about practice and about getting that intensity in practice is not probably where you wanted it to be yet. And you obviously had some issues in the locker room after the game. Is it harder to change the culture quickly? When everybody talks about how it's not an overnight process. It's not a quick fix, whether it's the team, whether it's offense, whether it's even.
Yeah, well, I think you're change takes time. And change is uncomfortable for people, right? If you don't like how things are, you got to change. Well, change is uncomfortable, and however you want to change, it's uncomfortable because you're kind of used to this way, and I'm used to it, and I can't do it how I'm used to doing it. So, but like I said, I think our attitude's been fantastic. I thought the attitude of the guys after the game was actually impressive. I think they didn't know what to think, and talking to them, explaining to them after the game, we'll see. I mean, I put it pretty clearly for them of things what's necessary for us to progress as a program, and the reality check that they have to go through. And I thought after the game they kind of understood that. I think they're all trying to still figure a lot of things out. We got a lot of young players. Young players got to figure a lot of things out, but because a lot of them never been in these situations, but. For us, they handle it well. One of the first things I told them is, and we emphasized it today, right? I mean, if we come in this morning into this morning's team meeting, if we had found a way, let's say at the end of the game, we don't have a silly procedural penalty on the defense. We create a 3-and-out. We get the ball. We drive the length of the field and score. We're just coming off a 99-yard drive, and we score and win the game. Right? Do we have a different mindset on the practice field today than how that didn't happen? We didn't win the game. Because if we have a different mindset in how we approach and attack practice this week, we're not improving as a program. We're not getting the program where we need to be. Right? You probably have a smile on your face because you won the game. But it doesn't change how we have to attack and continue to improve and grow. And hopefully that's sinking into them. If we had found a way, right, we'd make that one stop at the end of the game, we'd go down and score. We still have to get a lot more physical. We still have to tackle better on the defensive side of the ball, be more physical up front. We still have to execute better and within the run game on the offensive line, knocking guys off the ball. We still can't have the massive number of missed MAs that we have, which is really a mental toughness aspect. The only difference I told the guys should be is there's a smile on your face, and instead of maybe a frown. Hopefully that frown is more, right? There's the different ways you take it. I can be mad and be like, well, it wasn't my fault, or we lost because of this, or we lost because of that, or we can be upset that we didn't win the right, and it's something else, or there's some other thing out there, or I can be upset that we didn't win, and I can't wait to get better and fix the problem, right? Everybody in the world's got problems. Successful people have solutions, and our guys, we got to go out on the field today and find the solution to fix our problem.
Did you count
Yeah, we had. Oh, look at that. I think we charted that as 20 missed tackles for, I think it was 168 yards that we gave up that were yards after missed tackles. That's a lot. You know what? Here's the problem. There was a lot of that in game one, too. And the majority of the yards we gave up in game one were after. Now, a bunch of them were on one play. I think, right? Like 70 some of them in game one were a result of a missed tackle on one play. And this wasn't as much on one play. It was on multiple plays.
I'd imagine what you're talking about, a lot of those lessons are easier to teach after a loss, right? Or no?
I don't know. I got to find out what our personality of our team is. Depending on the team that you're on, yes and no. I've been on teams that it's both. Been on teams where sometimes it's easier to teach after a loss, sometimes it's easier to teach after a win. I've been around, and you can do either. Our job as the coaching staff is to make sure we're teaching it, whether win or lose, to make sure we're teaching it, and our players, and make sure the players understand the steps we need to take, win or loss. And I think, but I think that's very program oriented. And as the program learns to deal with that, I want to see how fast this team learns to deal with it.
And then you talked about obviously improving the physicality in practice, and you don't go from here to here quickly. Mm-hmm. How long does it take to get from here to here? Does that just depend on the stop?
Yeah, that depends on your individuals on the team. That's an individual deal. We're going to show them these are the things you need to do, but until those things become habits, that's an individual deal, right? How many times do you need to do something till it becomes your habit? Everybody in this room would have different, it would be a different result for every individual in the room. And so that's just something we'll see in how fast they learn it.
You've been in some first-year situations that took some lumps. At Mississippi State and here with Urban in 2005. What are some of the main challenges? You've talked about culture and this kind of thing, buy-in, but can you draw from some of those experiences and apply it to what you're going through now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think just for me as a head coach, I think I can draw a lot from it of having been through it. I think the first time as a head coach, sometimes you can get over emotional about it too. And I did even talk to our team today about their emotions, of make sure our emotions are focused in the right direction. To get mad. I remember, I remember Mike Slive gave me some advice, like year one, like I flew out, like I'd fly off the hook on everything. You know what I mean? I had Scott and Greg, had athletic directors helping me, boy, we lost this game, and I'm screaming at the officials, and I'm complaining about that, and I'm complaining about this, and when you look, and I remember Mike calling me and said, hey, is that, just step back and look at yourself. Is that the image you want? Is that helping you build in their program? Is that making you a better team? Is that the image of your program? And so I think I learned from those mistakes. Both Greg Byrne and Scott Strickland helped me out an awful lot as ADs the same way in gathering, even Urban, and you just learn from all of those things is what I'm doing or what my reactions to Saturday night's game, what is it doing to make the program better and helping us win this week's game? And if it doesn't have anything to do with that, then why are we wasting energy on that? Why are we wasting emotions on that? Because those are counterproductive to what our end goal is. And so, that's all stuff I think I've drawn on as a coach in the past. And, from making those mistakes and seeing those things and trying to better myself.
Kentucky, did you feel maybe was in a stronger position than the Gators this week because of continuity? They've been together a while.
No, I don't know they should be in a stronger position than us. I think Mark, I don't want to take away from what they do. I think Mark's done an excellent job of building that program. I've said that for a couple of years. I was in a similar situation. I went to a school 10 years ago, the people said, boy, it's really hard to win there. You can't win consistently. No one's ever been able to do that. And we kind of put a plan in place, and everybody bought into that plan, and we built a program that could win on a consistent basis. And I see a lot of similarities to what Mark's done at Kentucky as to what was done at Mississippi State, and in how he's built the program. And I think, it's a great example to me is if you have a coach that has a vision and you have an administration that's going to believe in that vision and be patient with them to let him build stability within the program, you're going to be able to see success. The issue today with in football, we live in an instant gratification society, right? I mean, I need it, right? Everybody right now, it's not about tomorrow's newspaper, right? It's how fast can I get the message out, because everything's instant and I got to have it. How fast can I check my phone and what's new, and everything's immediate. And when you build a program, those aren't really always immediate results. So, and I think he's done a great job of doing that.
Dan, you said after the game the other night that you're looking forward to Monday's practice.
Yeah.
What's one of the first things that you'll look for out on that field, specifically, like what you'll see from those guys, or are there things that
the focus and energy level? You'll be able to tell as they honestly when they we flex in the indoor, so they all walk on the indoor. And we start with a walkthrough, and then we get to specialists and flex. I'll have a good feel at that point. Is their energy level woe is me, or is the energy level I'm ready to go attack? That's an important part. The next step, when it gets to the physicality part, is going to be on scout teams. When you have the program rolling, to me, and we split up on scout teams, our defense, I got to be like, whoa, hey, these are our own guys. Be careful. We can't be hitting guys like this hard. Just wrap them up and keep them up. Let's not be laying everybody out. And the offensive line with a nastiness, just trying to maul people. When I gotta say whoa instead of sick 'em, we'll be in much better shape. So hopefully it's more to that mindset when we get to those periods. It's not silly, but it's intense.
It sounds like you don't think that's something, the intensity that you want to see in that flex period, for example, is something that you can say do it and manufacture it. It's something that has to be real and internal. It comes from
an internal drive. That for us to be successful, it's got to come internally. It can't be because even if it's fake, I can tell if it's a little bit fake. And if it is fake, when it's fake, you'll know. And unfortunately, sometimes you might not know until Saturday. I've learned that lesson as a head coach. You know what I mean? You think, boy, this team's saying and doing the right things. And then you can go get punched in the nose on Saturday, and we react a little bit differently than, what we were saying and how we were pretending to act during the week when reality hit us right in the face. But I've learned those lessons too, and so as a coach, and I'm interested to see their mindset today. Even if they come out with a great mindset, it's still not gonna. I still don't expect it to go from here to here today. But I hope it's heading in that direction.
Hey, Dan, you spoke about guys not being resisting you or resisting the approach, but do you have enough guys you think that hold other guys accountable on this team, or do you not yet know that?
Well, I think they're trying to figure all that out. Does that make sense? I think it comes when it gets to accountability. You got to be accountable for your own actions. Because it's hard if I'm not always accountable, but I'm telling you to be accountable. And you're looking at me, and that's where some distractions come, because you can feel like, man, why don't you take care of yourself first before you tell me what to do? Now, that's a double negative within a team that way. Does that make sense? Here's a winning mindset to that. I'm trying to be better myself, but I saw you doing something you shouldn't be doing, and you should look at it instead of saying, hey, instead of complaining about you're not accountable, why are you yelling at me? You should be saying, hey, thanks for noticing that. I appreciate you trying to help me get better. Right? That's a double positive. is, hey, I'm working on it. I know I'm not perfect. Hey, you need to do this. And I'm not mad at you. I'm not perfect myself. I'm trying to prove myself, and I'm trying to help you. That's a double positive. The double negative is you need to do this, and you're wondering, I'm not doing it right anyway, and I don't care about doing it right. I'm just trying to get on you, and you're like, well, you don't really care. Why? You don't care about doing it right. Why are you getting on me? That's where the accountability, when that turns to the double positive, then you start to see big jumps in accountability and performance of players in every aspect of the program.
How surprising was the defensive line's lack of physicality and performance based on what we saw in camp?
Yeah, but again, the heart of me, camp's a tricky deal, right? Because you don't go against other people, so you don't know how you're judging it. You know what I mean? Is a good offensive day a result of good offense or bad defense? You know, and so I was hoping we were more physical than we were, or I was hoping we were more physical than we are. Is the right way to word that. But that's a fixable, for the most part, issue. Not fixable like that. But it's a mindset where our guys got to learn to be. We got to be a little mentally and physically tougher.
And then does Reese help you run defense instantly?
Obviously, a guy that's played, that has experience and that adds depth and lets you roll players through more is certainly going to help. You know, and he's a guy that's on the leadership committee. So he brings something. You know, I'm not going to say that him coming back is the answer, but it's certainly not going to hurt.
With Mark out, you have Trey Dean available for you to stick in there if you want him to. He came into the season though with a bigger role. So how do you feel about him? How do you feel he's ready for that?
Who, Trey?
Trey.
Yeah, I think the one, obviously the benefit of graduating early is huge. The lack, for a young player, and I notice this a lot with young players, the lack of depth we have at that position certainly has helped him accelerate his role to get ready. He's been he was a 2 on day one, and so, to me, 1s and 2s need to at some point be interchangeable. So, when you show up and you're kind of forced into this position where you love guys that have time to develop, but when you're in a position where you're forced, where there is no choice, you have to develop. You often see that accelerate their growth, and he's done a good job of doing that.
Darius Lemons announced after the game, that he was leaving. I guess have you had a chance to talk with him about that? Or
He's not going to be part of the program anymore.
And what was your reaction to that?
We'll wish him the best. We'll sign his release for him to go anywhere he wants to go, and support him however he does, and keep him in. I think in talking to him, he's going to stay in school and finish up the semester academically and try to get himself eligible to transfer.
Did you get any clarification on the field goal from?
I'm not from the league office yet. Steve does a great job. Steve Shaw does a tremendous job. Not just on that play. Anything that we have questions or concerns about, we send to Steve. He usually gives a very detailed response. And I really respect that. I don't mean, I love it, but hey, I make mistakes in the game too. I love the one thing I've always seen with Steve, he's very honest. If he thinks there's a mistake, he'll tell you I thought it was a mistake, and if he doesn't think there's a mistake, he'll tell you why he didn't think it was a mistake or why it was done, and and that's what I appreciate that from him, because I know when he tells you, hey, if this was right or wrong, and not that call, any call within the game. As a person, I know he's addressing it then, and and that's what you want to do. I certainly make mistakes during the games as well.
Do you anticipate CeCe Jefferson being able to play this week?
We'll see. He should be back this week. We'll see. It's only Monday. We got pretty high standards in this program now for guys, so it's only Monday. We'll see.
So now that you've watched the film, how do you assess Felipe's decision-making? You seem to be pretty positive about it.
I thought it was. I thought, I thought he missed some things. They weren't big misses, just experience misses. You know what I mean? With reads as you go through progressions and when you can take certain reads. I thought he made a couple poor decisions, but overall, I did not have a big issue with his performance for where he's at this stage of his development. A couple things where, hey, they gave you this read, I should just get across your progression, check it down over here, just take that throw and go play the next play and in looks. One of those things are hard in young guys because, like I said, you try to get them as many looks as possible, but you go through really 15, 25, 15 in the spring, 25 in the fall, going against our defense. And you don't get as many reps against other defenses. And so your number of times that you've seen that look and over and over and over and bang, and I just make an instantaneous quick decision, gets tougher. But overall, I think he did. And, at the end of the game, maybe, I think, he technically, if you look at him fundamentally, he overthrew one or two things of trying maybe to make plays and just take what they give us. And you saw him do that. You saw it on the fourth down, the big fourth down conversion. And you'd come in here and you guys be yelling and screaming, on 4th and 8, how do you not throw it at least 8 yards? He didn't throw it 8 yards, but we were able to get the first because he made the right read, got it to the guy that was going to get 8 yards instead of forcing it to somebody that was maybe double or triple covered 10 to 12 yards down the field. So he's coming along that way.
Any plans to shuffle the offensive line or do something to kind of get it going maybe better?
We'll see. If other guys press, that's one of the things I want to see. I'm not going to shuffle it if other guys aren't pressing in practice. I turn on that practice film, and if you're not better than the guy that's in there, how can I put you in the game? Until I see somebody press where on practice they're deserving of more reps or deserving of sharing time or rotating guys through, then I can't do that.
Cassidy. Hey, Dan, right here. We saw Tony get in, catch reception, then get in as a Wildcat. Saw that a couple of times. Are those the sort of packages you anticipate for him, or are you still working out?
I think he's a dynamic guy with the ball in his hand, and he's learning to be a wide receiver, right? He's a guy that didn't do that. So I think, we'll have some things. He's still going to play a bunch of wide receiver, but we'll have a little package here or there to kind of get it to stuff to make sure he gets there's ways to touch the ball without him just being a great route runner within the system, and we'll continue to do those things.
Any final questions for Coach? Hager?
How did you players react to the lack of toughness comments? You're pretty stern about that.
What I told him is this. I wasn't a challenge on their character because I do think that, like I said, I'm not upset. I'm not calling them soft people. I said our lack of toughness was in our performance, and that gets back to practice and in your mindset and all that way. So I made that clear to them. As I'm not saying you guys aren't tough. You're a bunch of softies. I'm saying our performance wasn't very physical and tough. And the only way you change that is by changing the habits of what you do at practice, where it becomes a deal. If I'd be more concerned if there was no buy-in. I asked you to go hard, and you're like, I don't really want to go hard. I asked them to do something, they try to do it. It's just it hasn't become habitual yet to them.
And one last thing, this Colorado State, you're going to play somebody this week, but it's kind of an odd dynamic. This game was scheduled because your predecessor being here. Are you aware of the dynamics? Do you find it a little odd?
No, I'll be honest. I look who we got to play, and let's go find a way to go play them. And so I never really thought of it that way. I think they're just coming here, right? We don't return the favor. Nope. There we go. So they just, I didn't personally. That's a big benefit for me. I'm grateful I didn't have to do that. I will. You have to. They'd be calling my wife anyway, looking for that stuff. I don't know where any of that stuff is. You got to talk to her. Huh? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We got an injury report on Goldcat?
He's had a bad cold for a couple of weeks.
Is it?